Welcome to Empowered. I'm Elizabeth Naumovski. Today's guest is a first-generation Canadian born into a Ukrainian family. Inspired by the authentic story of vodka, which was fostered by an industry of women master distillers, she was inspired to create Zirkova Vodka, one of the only consumer brands in Canada produced in Ukraine. When Ukraine was invaded, all production in Ukraine stopped, and the country and her company faced an existential threat. She developed and launched Zirkova Unity, produced in Canada, taking it from a concept to shelf in less than 4 months, with proceeds going to humanitarian aid in Ukraine. Today, I'm joined by Katherine Vellinga, Chief Executive Officer at Zirkova Vodka, and she's here to tell her story. Katherine, welcome to Empowered. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Liz. Honestly, it's such a pleasure.
So, looking back on life's journey, Steve Jobs famously said, "You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backward." And your life journey has certainly been the road less traveled, from systems design engineer to moving to Ukraine to starting a vodka company. So, what brings all of those life experiences together, and what's your story?
Liz, honestly, I love asking people, like, what's your story? What's your superpower? Because everybody has a story. And mine is, I was born and raised in a family of survivors of genocide. So all of my grandparents had survived, from the start of communism, collectivization, their homes seized and properties. Then Holodomor, where Stalin basically starved millions of Ukrainians to death. And then came, the horrors of World War II and the invasion of Nazi Germany. So, my father was only a toddler when he and my grandmother were taken by Germans to work in a forced labor camp. So, I mean, this is sort of the backdrop of my family's history and displaced people after World War II. And then it turns into a love story where my parents met each other in the London Ukrainian community in London, Ontario, and got married. And my twin sister and I were born. And I was the surprise. My parents had no idea. So, can you imagine? Um, and so when, we were always taught to love our culture, to know Ukrainian language, to be part of the community, because remember, this was when Ukraine was under the Soviet Union, and we didn't know what was going to happen. So, of course, when the Soviet Union fell, we were all, excited. I mean, this was our opportunity to travel there, to find out more, to experience the country, to be part of the birth of a nation. And I was an engineer working at Procter and Gamble, and my twin sister moved to Ukraine. And within 5 years, my husband and I moved, started a consulting firm, and it was one of our clients that asked us if we would help them launch their beers in Canada when we moved back to Canada. And that led to entering this industry, which I had no idea that I would do. And then the LCBO asked us to find us a vodka from Ukraine. And what we discovered was the birthplace of vodka. And not only that, but an industry of women and this rich history. And we had to bring it to the rest of the world. So it's really been a labor of love and wanting to share my culture, which is really about connecting and bringing people together, toasting and the magic of what happens around a table. So to me, it's like a lot bigger than a liquid. It's about community. It's about bringing people together, but it's also about how can we help a nation that is, economically by buying products from them and exporting products. So there's a lot, there's a lot all rolled up into this.
So, you talked about a superpower. When we come back from the commercial break, I'm going to ask you what your superpower is. So, please don't go away. We'll be right back. Thank you. Welcome back to Empowered. I'm Elizabeth Naumovski. Today we are talking to Katherine Vellinga, and she's the CEO of Zirkova Vodka. Okay, before we went to break, you had mentioned superpower. What is your superpower, Katherine?
I'm a super connector. I mean, I get out of a thrill out of connecting people, making things happen, sort of like a catalyst. And I have this ability to connect passion and purpose with people's strengths.
So that's amazing. Let's move on to meeting the moment.
Liz, wait.
Yes,
What's your superpower? I want to hear it. You
mine.
don't get away.
Okay, I'm not getting away with it. So my superpower, I believe I'm a good communicator and a connector as well. I'm an introducer, and every
Yeah.
time I meet somebody, I will introduce them to somebody else and say, "Oh my gosh, I think you would love this person," or "I think you would love this." And that's probably the reason why I get along so well with all of my guests, because we all have this mutual superpower where we connect people and want to tell our story.
Yeah, and I feel like you really see the story and the person behind the story. Not the job title, not the, but you actually see that person and want to hear more about the story, which I think is amazing.
Yeah, so thank you. Let's go on though, because I know that you have this thing about meeting the moment and, being a force for good in the world, which is what you just talked about. How can you make a difference as an individual or entrepreneur? Because each of us has something of value to contribute, including our unique strengths, which we just talked about, our talents and experiences. And the world and all women need this. So, Katherine, what does meeting the moment mean to you?
So I think it's really about having that choice that, we can't control what comes up. I mean, certainly we're looking at a really disempowering time in our world, and there's so many things that are outside of our control, but we can control who we're going to be. We can control the difference that we make. We can control what we choose to focus on. And so for me, a lot of it is around, um, how can I bring my unique strengths to the situation and take action and make a difference. And I think that right now, Liz, it's a women are disempowered. Women, it is such a disempowering time for women because you can't, like, everything that's happening in the world is, it's hurting us.
Yes.
It's hurting us. We're seeing our children being hurt. We're seeing a world that's, you know, uh, unbelievably different than it was 5 years ago. We've gone through a pandemic. So I think there's so many forces out of our control. And so what I see is that a lot of times we feel so disempowered that we just want to hide. We just want to sort of turn away, or we want to kind of distract ourselves. And this is the time to actually reflect, like, if and make a difference, I believe.
So, why don't you tell us about the moment when you found out that Ukraine was invaded in 2022? Because we're talking about moments right now that have
Yeah.
shaped women, changed women. Um, let's talk about that and then talk about how you were able to give back.
Liz, this was a very, um, like, I will never forget this moment because my husband woke up first. He found out the news. So he was literally waiting for me to wake up. And then when I woke up and he told me, it was like all of the grief, all of the shock. I was just wailing. Like, I just fell on my knees, started praying, was crying. And then I turned and I called my twin sister who's, lived in Kiev for the last 30 years. And she was already in the mode of, I can't talk now. We can cry later. This, like, pull it together, get yourself going. take action, help Ukraine right now. And it was like that, almost just one woman pulling another woman up, out of the muck, and boom, I was, calling my marketing person. I was pulling my team together, and it's like, what can we do? What can we do? Okay, what do we have? We have a platform. We have a voice. Um, we can make a difference, and let's do all that we can to make a difference at this
Okay,
time.
hold that thought because we'll be right back with more. Welcome back to Empowered. I'm Elizabeth Naumovski. Katherine, before we went to commercial break, we were talking about we can make a difference. What difference do you believe that women can make right now?
I think women can make the biggest difference because we are connectors, we are communicators, we think of solutions, we are people that can pull people together towards a common cause. So I think that women, we have so many strengths to bring to any situation. And, you know, I see every single time I see a woman at a conference, or even in Ukraine, security conference, we bring a different perspective. There's a way that we look at the world, which is globally, locally, community minded. We support one another, we listen to one another, and I just, I'm a big fan of diversity and of bringing together all kinds of different people in different segments and sectors to look at things holistically, to find innovative solutions. I mean, it's something that we do so well in business, Liz. Like, in business, when you have your back against the wall, you're going to find a solution.
Yeah.
And I think this is what women can really bring.
So let's step away now and focus on you and being an entrepreneur. Like, what
Yeah.
do you love about being an entrepreneur?
So I love um, creating. I love that you can take an idea and turn it into reality. I mean, when I look around the world, I see entrepreneurial things all around us. And they were all a thought in somebody's mind. And it was, someone that created it and made it happen. Um, I think entrepreneurs are extraordinary problem solvers. I think they're resilient. I love the difference that I get to make. I love the people that I get to meet. Um, and yeah, there,
So
I, there,
let,
there's a lot to it.
there is a lot, and most entrepreneurs love to give back to their community or whatever. How have you been able to give back? When you've been building your company. I mean, I know that a lot of your profits have been going back to Ukraine or other sources as well.
So, Liz, actually, what we really started with from the beginning, we were on Dragon's Den. Actually, my husband, we were Viewers' Choice winners, seasons 4 and 5. And, my husband was presenting and I was in the wings. I had like set it all up. But right from the beginning, we thought, how can we make a difference through our business and through what we do? It was always really important to us. So, we figured out a way that we could give back, and everybody can do this. And we've raised over 400,000 for Canadian charities, for children's charities, for all kinds of causes. And it was, Brett Wilson from Dragon's Den that basically inspired us and said, you can always give back, figure out a way. And so we actually will donate and live auction something that we call the vodka experience. And it's like a tutored vodka tasting, and we donate it to charities. And, and we bit by bit have raised over 400,000. So
Amazing. So let's keep going forward, like words of wisdom for future entrepreneurs, because there's so many women out there that are thinking of starting a business, don't know where to go. What are your words of wisdom to them?
I would talk to people. I would really talk to, connect with people, talk to other entrepreneurs, learn the lessons. Entrepreneurs love sharing their mistakes, their failures, their successes. Um, Make sure you have a business plan. Make sure you've got a solid business model. And um, what else?
Well, solid
I
business models and plans always help you get to that next level, right?
Definitely, definitely. And also, it's got to be something that you believe in, that you're passionate about, because there's going to be ups and downs. It really is a roller coaster ride, but it's your belief and your faith and your passion is going to keep you going when times are tough.
So, when we come back, you are going to talk to us about the art of the toast because everyone's
Yes.
celebrating something all over the world. So, please don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Empowered. I'm Elizabeth Naumovski, and today we are talking to Katherine Vellinga. She's the CEO of Zirkova Vodka. Katherine, before we keep going, what inspires you most and actually keeps you going?
What inspires me is just women, the resilience, our stories. I mean, I am inspired by people. I'm an extrovert. I love people. And there's magic that happens when people come together and are just authentic, open, real. That inspires me. People inspire me. And I see so many heroes among us and of just ordinary people that are doing amazing things. So I guess I'm inspired by people all around me.
That's so nice. So, talking about
You
people like to
inspire me, Liz,
celebrate.
honestly. So
I
you do. So this is
Well, thank you.
yeah.
You inspire me as well. But I love the fact that you talked about, people. You love being surrounded by people because as people, we love to celebrate each other, things, anniversaries, birthdays. Doesn't matter what it is. But you like to talk about the art of the toast because there's an art to toasting that has the power to take an ordinary occasion and turn it into a memorable event that connects and brings people together in a shared experience. So, what does toasting mean to you, and why is this important to you?
So I think that everybody can look at their childhood and what shaped them. And for me, I was first generation born to a Ukrainian family. And remember, we had no relatives. Everybody was behind the Iron Curtain. I mean, so my grandfather, my grandparents, they would have one table. They would have all of us around it. If there were people that didn't have family, they were invited. So it was like this notion of everybody's welcome, everybody around a table, everybody's important, young and old, it would any all generations, all people. And it was very celebratory, and we learned from a young age of how to toast. And so it really starts with honoring a person. So it's one person, it's about connecting to that person and what you wish for them and expressing it in a wonderful way. So I'm going to do it to you, Liz. We're
Please
going to
do.
use this. Yes, we're going to use as an example because, you had said to me that this is the 102nd show. So we're going to do a toast to this.
Okay.
So, Liz, what I just want to acknowledge you. I want to acknowledge you for 102 episodes, for the commitment, for the dedication, for the research, for the connecting with every guest with their story. What I wish for you is health. I wish for you happiness, love, laughter, and that you continue fulfilling everything that you're passionate about and that all of your dreams come true. That to me now, if I had a glass of something, we would be clinking. And like just the like for me, what is really important, it's the spirit of it. It's the spirit of, you know, it's about what do you want for somebody? What do you want to express about them? What do you wish for them? And when we were young, our grandparents taught us that, you know, when you connect to something, then we all drink. And if it's, a glass of water, vodka, it doesn't matter. We then take the wishes into our body. And we do this as a community. And it's like we're witness to that and we're participating in it. It's very powerful, Liz. And it's something that it's not just about clink and that's it.
It is. And on that note, I'm going to say na zdravie to you and your family.
Thank you. And thank you for having me on your show.
Thank you. Zirkova Vodka has helped to raise over $400,000 towards human rights and charitable organizations, from children's hospitals to LGBTQ plus organizations to humanitarian efforts focused on Ukraine. And Katherine says the thing that terrifies you the most is where all the gold is. And she says her experience is when you bust through, that there's really incredible things on the other side. And she also is inspired by Mother Teresa, who said, I alone cannot change the world, but I can cast a stone across the waters to create many ripples. Bye for now.